He let time do what time does, and it teaches you things. Like, he has been doing and building these businesses for so long that compounding years of effort and learning and building actually led to him having something valuable to offer. I've been doing this for a couple months, or I've been doing this for a couple years. Like, I have so much value. It's like the value is built through experience, and experience is built through time. He spent this money on the advertising, and then all the people were there, and he'd already made money on the front end before he was about to sell something on what I would call the back end. Like, that's insane. Like, he was already profitable from the first move. That is what's possible for you. Choose your hard. You've heard that over and over again. What would it take to have a $100 million day in your business? Does that seem crazy? Does it seem impossible? Alex Hormozi just did it, and what I want to talk about is how he did it, because in my opinion, there are 4 things that led to this $100 million day. And crazy enough, I'm like, that's totally possible. Like, I totally, absolutely am crazy enough to be like, we could totally do that. Now, would we do it right now? No. But do I know exactly how it happened? I actually do. And no, I haven't talked to his team. Granted, I am getting to meet with him in person with a small group of other entrepreneurs, like less than 10 people in person next week. So keep following along on the episodes, and I'll give you an update on how that goes when you listen to the ones that come after this as I share that story. But what matters is watching him be successful. As he built this, there are 4 things that really led to that. And I'd love to share these with you. So the first one is time. He let time do what time does, and it teaches you things. Like, he has been doing and building these businesses for so long that compounding years of effort and learning and building actually led to him having something valuable to offer. So often we're like, well, I've been doing this for a couple months, or I've been doing this for a couple years. Like, I have so much value. It's like the value is built through experience, and experience is built through time. And so when I think about this, was this $100 million day magic? No, it was actually math. Math said the longer you do something, the more people find out about that thing, and the more you advertise about the thing, the more people know. Because that's why the definition of advertising is the process of making known. And if there's anybody outside of me who is really good at advertising, it's stinking Alex Hormozi. He's so good at advertising. And so what I want to do is break down why I think he was so successful and what it means for you and what you can take from, like, recapping this day. So, I mean, gosh, he advertised and spent $250 million a day on ads. And honestly, I bet he did so excitedly, because he was break even or positive every day on his ads. And that is why all of you have heard me say this. When you ask, well, what should your budget be? I'm like, unlimited. I want your advertising budget to be unlimited, because there should be no limit besides your capacity to fulfill that holds you back from spending more, when you know how to take $1 and turn it into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or more. And so that's why my goal for you on this whole podcast and with everything that my company does is that it allows you to win with paid advertising. And gosh, this was a freaking win with paid advertising if I've seen one. So I want to deconstruct it for you. All right, so you could think that his $100 million day was all the hype and just the charisma or the way that he sells. It's like, that's how he was able to do it. No, it was these 4 things. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, it was these 4 things: time, advertising, team, and tested offers. And ultimately, the time and tested offers is the thing that, like, the time created the offer. Like, he had something valuable to sell because of time. And then advertising, he truly built a money machine. And that's why one of the things I love that my clients say when we get to work together is they're like, this is so much more than just setting up an ad. And I'm like, correct, because we have to figure out, what are we actually advertising to? What do we do once we're advertising? What is our next move? And how can we profit more and get more profit in your pocket from your advertising? That is the goal. And so when you think about his advertising machine, he tested over 2,000 ads, spent over $250,000 per day. And the funnel was so dialed in that he was profitable on the front end. So when he got on that stage, like, can you imagine? You have actually been paid. Literally, think about this. He didn't pay to get people to show up. He got paid to show up. He spent this money on the advertising, and then all the people were there, and he'd already made money on the front end before he was about to sell something on what I would call the back end. Like that's insane. Like he was already profitable from the first move. That is what's possible for you. And the thing is that's why I looked at it and thought, yeah, I could do this. Anybody could do this. Could I do this? Like when I say I could do this, I'm not like, yeah, I could do that tomorrow. I could not do that tomorrow. Because his team and all the intricacies and details that went into creating that, I am just certain were so big. And I bet there is heart, sweat, blood, tears, arguments, challenges, mess ups, fixes, hiring, firing. I bet it was a journey, and I bet it was years of planning. Like I really do, genuinely do. And the only way it was able to be as successful as it was because of how willing he was to fail up until getting to that point to learn all that he had to offer. Like I just know that. Like we can't just be like, yeah, good for him. It's like there is so much that went on behind the scenes that we just know beyond a shadow of a doubt led to that $100 million day, which is so cool. And so you think 2,000 ads, 250,000 per day, that is unheard of for most businesses. But that's why I'm saying if you can put $1 in and get 2, 3, 4, or 5 out, why would you limit your budget if not just because your capacity? Like that really is it. It's like, well, we don't even know how we're going to fulfill. That's the problem I honestly want to create. You know, so many business owners, they when they're, you know, thinking about their ads, they're like, well, what would I do if my ads worked so well? And I'm like, well, you would do what you do with a thermometer when it gets hot. You turn the air down. Like that's what's cool about a machine is you can dial it up, you can dial it down. Too hot, too cold. Like you can adjust the temperature for where you're at. And you can say, you know what, we're going to stay at this degrees until we hire and then we can level it up. That is the power that he had with his advertising. And it was just the time where he was like, we're turning it all the way up. So something that I remember that he said, and it was so good. He said, the market rewards volume of attempts. The more time you take an at bat and get in there and learn, like eventually the math is going to say the math will math out. If you try too many times, eventually something will stick. And you know that. And what's hard, and this is so true, when you're in the moment and you're on attempt number 7, sometimes you can tell yourself, I've already tried. I think this is enough. How much can you handle? And you can handle so much more. And in fact, I was recently with one of the women, her and her husband owned the second advertising agency that I worked for. They sold it, did such an incredible job building that company. And she and I did some hot and cold therapy. So we did a workout and then we did a sauna and then cold plunge and then sauna and then cold plunge. And I've actually only done a cold plunge a couple of times. And because I read this stat that said that you get 250 times more dopamine from doing cold plunge. And I think I felt it later that day. I was like, I'm high on life. It was cool. Anyway, I didn't think that I could do more than 30 seconds. It is so surprising what your body is capable of when you test it. Like you think about fasting, you think about enduring crazy environments and challenges. I mean, you think about the men and women in the army and all that they go through. Like there's so many times in life where you are truly tested. And I think sometimes because life, truly, if you really think about it, life has been made easy for us in a lot of ways. And so our tolerance for testing is down. Like we dread and escape discomfort. And what I have found is the people who can sit and carry that discomfort and say, I am uncomfortable and I can carry this and I can endure the discomfort. That is what I talk about with my friend Emily. That is capacity. It's your ability to hold something. And I just know Alex and his team, and I know me and my team, and I know the business owners that we see that are succeeding, and you, if you've been just immensely successful or on your way to, I can guarantee your capacity to hold a lot of change and a lot of challenges is the very thing that'll lead you to being so successful. And so that's why I said, I'm like, I know what it takes to get to where he is, not because I've done it, but I can see from the outside. It is the time and it is the capacity to endure the challenges. I think so often, like I was giving that example of like turning up the dial, like, well, what if my ads work too well? Well, like what problem do you want? Like, are you anticipating that there's not going to be problems in business when you scale? Because guaranteed there will be. And the question is, what problem would you rather have? What problem? Would you rather have the problem that you've worked so hard and created this business and created this value that you have someone to offer and no one can find it? Would you rather have that problem? Or would you rather have the problem that you're having to hire really quickly and you're having to raise your prices and you're expanding and you're growing and you've never done that before? Like, what problem? Choose your hard. You've heard that over and over again. But when someone complains that they're like worried it's going to be too successful, like, what's harder? Having to fire someone because you can't pay them or having to hire someone because you can? Like, I'm in the middle of hiring myself. Yes, it's challenging. Thank God we have the problem that we get to hire, right? So that is being able to turn up a dial. That is findability. That is advertising on true display. And that's why he says the market rewards volume of attempts. Simply, he has had more attempts than others. And I think about that with advertising. So that's why Tiger's so good at golf. It's why Serena's so good at tennis. They simply have had more at-bats and more attempts. So when we think about why was advertising such a difference maker in what Alex Hormozi did, and ultimately it's because ads is amplification. Because without them, it doesn't matter how great his product is. What mattered was he advertised and people showed up. And it was people that knew him, but what was really cool, it was also people who had never heard of him before. He was filming, his ads, and there was this thing in the hype video as we were about to watch, like it was about to go live on YouTube and hundreds of thousands of people were about to join. And they were filming these ads in Las Vegas where he lives. And there was this guy and he's walking past and he was like, hey man. And he was like, hey, you coming to the book launch? And he's like, what book launch? He's like, it's in a couple days. Like, we've been advertising like crazy. And he's like, oh, good to know. And Alex looked back at the camera and I recorded it with my cell phone. He was like, see, this is why we advertise. People don't know we exist. And I'm like, he has 13 million followers and this guy's walking by like, who's that? Never heard of him. Like there's this client of mine and I know she and I are going to like have this story now. She has, I believe it's like 800,000 followers. And on her Zoom name on the challenge, when I got to meet her, her name was her husband's name. It was Josh. And I was like, hey, Josh, we're so glad you're here. She's like, my name's not Josh. And I remember asking her, about her audience. And she's like, yeah, it's rather large. I was like, really? What does that mean? Like, what is large? I was thinking she's going to say like 80,000. She's like, yeah, almost 1 million. And I was like, okay, wow. Like, and I had not heard of her. What does that mean? It's like good and bad news. Actually, it's only good news. It's that good news. Whether you have a small business or a big business, still people don't know about you. It is crazy how I went to lunch a week ago and I was talking about the book launch with another entrepreneur who is an entrepreneur. And I'm like, oh, everybody who's an entrepreneur knows this person. And I was like, Alex Hormozi? And they're like, never heard of him. I'm like, wow. Oh, you know what? I was getting a facial. And I was like, hey, Alex Hormozi. And I was talking to the owner of the company who was doing the facial. And she's like, no. I'm like, this is insane. You can spend millions and millions of dollars on advertising and still people don't know that you exist. That's why it's like, don't get so caught up that other people are doing what you're doing. I promise you there's enough people to go around that you can help. Same thing with Alex. It's like he can spend and I don't feel like because Alex Hormozi is spending that I can't spend and get in the market and add value, right? So that I don't want you to feel like you're behind. People who have millions of followers or 13 million or 20 million followers, still people don't know they exist. There are enough people, guaranteed. I just wanted to remind you really quickly that if you haven't joined the Win with Paid Ads Challenge, the doors are closing soon. And just as a refresher, this is 5 days of you and or someone on your team learning my 5-part strategy to scale your paid ads. So day 1 is messaging, which is what you say and how you say it. Day 2 is setting, which is all the different places you can place your ads. Think Google ads versus YouTube, Meta, or TikTok. Day 3 is targeting, which is how you can get in front of your exact right person. Day 4 is testing, so you can know what to test and how to improve your ads. And day 5 is scaling and profiting and how you can 10x whatever you're spending on your ads now so that you can have more profit and return and impact, which is ultimately what you want, right? So click the link below and I cannot wait to see you in the Win with Paid Ads Challenge. I was thinking about what is advertising? And I was like, hey, ChatGPT, give me some analogies. Like, what is advertising? Because advertising like a megaphone, and it said it is like owning, when you advertise well, it is like owning the world's loudest microphone. So when you think about the analogy, when you think about this, it is like owning the world's loudest microphone. Most entrepreneurs are whispering. Hormozi had a stadium quality sound system. That's all it really was. So it's like that verse in the Bible where it's like, essentially don't hide your or maybe that's a song. I swear this is in the Bible. It's like, don't hide it under a bushel. All right, Meredith and Robert, is hiding your light under a bushel? Is that in the Bible? Okay, so Meredith, reporting live, Meredith says it's just a song. Hide it under a bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine. Okay, I won't sing. But you can't treat your business like that song. You can't hide it under a bushel or people won't know that you exist. You have to shine. You have to shine bright like a diamond. I mean, I can keep singing all these songs. You've got to get it out there. And having advertising on your side is like having the world's largest microphone for what you have to offer. So I wanted to give you a little bit of behind the scenes. I told you early on this episode, I'm about to go get to meet Alex soon, and I'll do another episode after and let you kind of hear the story. So keep listening. There's just like so many good things coming. And here's kind of how it happened. So I know you're going to be shocked, but it was an ad. I saw an ad and it was like, do you have over $1 million in profit in the business? And I'm like, wow, that's a really strong like headline to start with. Like how many people are like, I'm like, how many people do have over $1 million in net profit for a business? I'm like, oh, I mean, there are so many. But in that moment, because it was new to me, I was like, I do. Okay. So I qualify for this. I must listen to this. I was listening to this ad. It's like, hey, do you have over $1 million in profit and you're trying to figure out how to scale and you're stuck at this, and this? I was like, actually, that is everything that I'm experiencing right now. And so it started with an ad that resulted in a text conversation with his sales team that resulted in a sales call that resulted in probably 10 follow-up texts because I was just busy in between making this decision. And what it ultimately led to was 2 $5,000 tickets to be in a room for 2 days. So my director of operations, Laura Beth, and I got this ad. I told her, and what's so cool? I called Laura Beth on like a Thursday. I was like, hey, 2 weeks from now, do you want to go to Las Vegas? And she's like, absolutely. I feel like it's like this all in mentality. It's one of our core values of a company. It's like all in. She's like, I'm all in because we know that someone else knows things that we don't know, and we could go slow and try to figure it out on our own, or we could just pay them to speed things up for us. And we were like, okay, investment done. And we went there, paid $10,000. And here's what was so cool. I'm sitting there in this room, and the room's full, mind you. The room is full, and they do these workshops multiple times a month. 80 business owners, 100 in net profit in the room across the board. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, the room is full. And any entrepreneur, anybody, regardless of whether you own a business or not, if you're a smart human, you're sitting there and you're looking at it and you're like, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. I'm like, oh, this is like a $500,000 room just sitting here. And I'm like, I'm certain they're going to sell me something. That's how my brain is. There's somebody, and they were like, they left the event and they were like, I can't believe it was just a sales pitch. I was like, what? I was like, what are you talking about? It's so funny how two people can experience two things and have two completely different takes on it. Neither right nor wrong. Absolutely respect everybody's experience. Mine was like, I couldn't wait to be sold to. And here's why, because I so love when value is brought to me or my team or this company. And so I was like, oh, they're going to, I can't wait to see like what they're offering. And it was interesting. I was so expecting when I sat down and paid $10,000 for 2 days. I was like, oh, Alex is going to be teaching the whole day. I've seen this on Instagram. He just sits and talks or stands and talks at the front of this room all day. And like the best way possible, they were like, hey, so Alex will come in at the end of the day. And I was like, what? He's going to come in at the end of the day. And you know what? I could have had a reaction and be like, what in the world? Because someone I didn't know was getting on stage. I was like, oh, this is his team. Like this is a bait and switch. Like that's what I thought. And you get there and I start listening to this guy and I'm like, oh my God. This guy did what? I'm like, how much did he pay this person? This person's a freaking genius. And so I'm like watching this and I'm listening to this guy on Alex's team. And I think the first one was Ed. And I was like, this Ed guy has accomplished some crazy things. And all of a sudden, I went from hesitation to, I went from like some resistance to like, I was so leaned in. I was like, this is the person on his team. He's done this. Like, I couldn't wait to learn from him. And it was really cool. And then the next person got up. I was like, oh, this is going to be a whole thing where everybody on his, like Alex is just upstairs working, doing something, probably making ads. Honestly, if we're being honest, he's probably making some ads, making content. I actually learned from being in that room. He spends 80% of his time on content. So that was my one thing. I talk about constantly, what is your one thing? Well, that was my one thing. I'm like, he spends 80% of his time on content. I need to, do some more content, and be the person that develops content. Like you can come on a podcast and just talk, or you can be the person that gets in rooms to develop content, to have content and substance to talk about. I was like, that's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going to work so hard to do. And so I was sitting there and I learned from Ed, and I was like, well, Ed is just a smart cookie. Loved this guy. And everybody in his team was so, they weren't all in the white tank tops. I just wanted you to know everybody on his team was in a suit. Like I was actually imagining them all to be in a flannel and like the white shirt with a logo, but actually his team was like dressed to the nines. It was pretty cool. And so Ed got off and we were like, okay, that was amazing. And then, a few other of his team get up there, and then Frank gets up there, and I'm sitting there watching this Frank guy, and he essentially hired like half the team. And before I knew it, I was sold. And I wasn't sold on Alex Hormozi. I was sold on Alex Hormozi's team. It was genius. And do you know what they sold at the event? Working with Alex Hormozi's team. It was brilliant. You were actually experiencing what they were selling. And that is the smartest thing that you could do. I mean, I think about the Win with Paid Ads Challenge. One of the things I get the opportunity to do is to coach and guide business owners and their team. And I get to coach them on ads. So what a perfect way to show exactly what we do by having the Win with Paid Ads Challenge, where you are experiencing exactly what you get when we work together. It's like you have zero doubts if it's going to work because you just did it. It was absolutely brilliant. And I went from like thinking Alex was cool to being like, I think Alex might be cooler because not only is he doing his thing, he has the best team here. And I'm so sold on him. Like they got off stage, and when Alex got off stage, not once was I was like, ooh, I got to go get in line and see if I can talk to Alex, even though he's so cool. I was like, I cannot wait to go get in line. Like Laura Beth and I, it was so funny. I got off stage and we looked at each other, and she was like, we got to go find Frank. And I was like, I agree. We got to ask him questions because we were hiring for a role, and Frank was so good at hiring. I'm like, well, we need to go talk to them. And it was just so cool getting to see that showing versus telling. And the other thing, which I'll tell you, is watching Laura Beth. I know many of you haven't gotten to meet Laura Beth unless you're one of our clients and we get to work together. But she was the first teammate that joined the company. And the way that I can go to her with an idea or an investment, or she sees it, like she was like, we have to hear what they're selling, like what it looks like. Like she's like, everything that they've done is already so valuable. Like of course, like the team isn't gonna all of a sudden have amnesia. Is that the right word? And like forget everything they know. Like they have all this knowledge. I'm like, this is just a tip of the iceberg. I can't imagine what working with them is like. That's how it is with our team too. That is the goal. I want to experience and emulate this experience that he did, which is, it's not me in this company. It is me and my team. And my team is so incredible. And so we've invested in finding the most incredible people who are great and skilled at their craft and continuing to reward that and grow that. And that is what I watched him do. And it was so inspiring to see. So that's why I actually ended up investing over 6 figures to spend a group VIP day. So it's me and 9 other business owners with Alex for a day. And then we get to go to dinner with him and his team. And like, I just paid 6 figures. I haven't gone yet. I just paid 6 figures so that I could literally just be in the room with these other people and just hear about their business challenges and their problems. Like, yes, I'm going because I have questions. I want answers on it. I'm certain that the team will be able to offer that, but it's just really cool because I'm like, what could if you think about how can you get that return? How can you get that return back? And I am so certain that one idea for you, for me, for anybody, one idea from one person, one time can change everything. I've talked about this in the past, but for those of you that have been following along over the past couple of years, from my very first episode, this was the Marketing Matters podcast. This was not the Win with Paid Ads podcast. And marketing and paid advertising are similar and also very different in my brain. Like when someone says marketing, I'm like, and they talk about my business, I'm like, it's paid advertising. And the only way I got that clarity was by being in a room with mentors and like paying. And so I'm always looking for that one thing. And so I am certain that after paying this investment, I will walk away with one thing. I met with one of the guys that actually did a group VIP day with Alex. He actually joined my paid advertising program recently. And we were talking about it. He was like, what was the day? He was like, honestly, one of the most valuable things that he got from the day was knowing what not to do. And I just thought that was so cool. It's like, he was like, I was about to go down a deep rabbit hole in a direction, and just simply knowing to not go that way, that was worth everything. So that is what I like to do, is save time by investing in those mentors. So that's why I'm going to get to meet with him, and I can't wait to hear all the behind the scenes of like the book strategy and what it took to get there. But the reason I wanted to dissect it with y'all today is because it was such a good demonstration of advertising. I'm like, he advertised, people showed up, and because he'd been doing it for so long, he's gotten good at it. And because he's been doing it for so long, he had something valuable, and he advertised it, and he sold it, and he profited. And then there's just so much, like, think about how he, like, everything that we do as a company, he just made it rain. Like, that is what we're building. We are building a community of rainmakers. If you're wondering why we always say, like, what is a rainmaker, I actually wanted to share with you, like, Alex, in my opinion, is building, like, his company is called acquisition.com. So what I've noticed that they do after attending his workshop is they're very big on acquiring. It's acquisition.com. Yes, they're acquiring businesses, but what they sell is acquiring knowledge and acquiring expertise and acquiring skills. And so even in their sales presentation, one of the little nuggets I pulled out, I was like, they're saying acquiring a lot. Like, how can you acquire those skills? And it's like, it's like selling an identity of someone who acquires not just things, but knowledge and experiences and opportunities. They acquire those things. They take hold of those. And so what I was realizing is, after watching Alex's success, was like, that was a rainmaker, if anything. And so what is a rainmaker? So what we build here at the Paid Ads Academy is a community of rainmakers. And if you're listening to this, you are one. And so a rainmaker is someone who has an unusual level of skill that brings an unprecedented amount of revenue to a company. And we just watched Alex Hormozi do that in a day. And what's really cool is we get to watch our clients do that all day, every day. The way that our team chat is, like, filled with client wins and team wins, it's like, I love forwarding to the team voice memos that people send me. I'm like, you're not seeing the behind the scenes of what I'm hearing. Like, this is why we have to get this out to the world. Like, having a mother voice memoing me in tears, crying and saying, thank God I found your ad. Thank God for this method. Thank God. Like, that is the greatest gift. And that is why I'm so big on making it rain. Making it rain is about money. And that's why I did this one episode. It was a couple back if you haven't heard it, but it's called You're Not Selling Poison. And that is why Alex and I have retrained and reframed our brains on how we view money and what money can do for other people, what it can do for your team, what it can do for your customers, what it can do for your family. And that is why we are all about making it rain. We want you to have profit in your business so that you do not have to shut down your business. We all know that is the case. And mastering advertising, it takes time. It takes repetition. It is not easy sometimes. It can be frustrating, and it can also be the most worth it thing that you can experience that allows you to have everything that you created your business for in the first place. And I am certain that that is what has happened to Alex and his team, that a lot of people got rewarded. And here's the cool thing. I bought the thing he sold on the webinar. I'm like, I was one of the 25,000. It's so funny. This is so funny. Okay. He had legitimate scarcity. He said, we only have 25,000. Like, I just want you to think about that. He's like, listen, there's 100 and something thousand on this. We have 13 million followers. And he's like, and we only have 25,000 of these workbooks that we can ship out. Only Alex Hormozi could have scarcity at 25,000. I'm like, hey, there's 3 spots left. And he's like, hey, there's only 25,000. And, like, they all sold. I'm like, that is advertising. That is making it rain. That is what's possible for you when you win the paid advertising game, which is why I want to invite you to the Win with Paid Ads Challenge. So when you click the link below this video or podcast, you can join and you can learn how what Alex did was not magic. It was math. And it's not impossible. It's possible when you know how to make it rain and you truly know how to be findable and have that visibility and have that large microphone. And so if I could recap everything that we talked about in this episode in one thing, it would be time compounds, be patient, but start now. Advertising is oxygen for your business. Lean into it, invest it, learn it, master it, build a team. He could have never accomplished what he did on his own, period. So build the team because no one scales alone, and pay for speed. Pay for advertising, pay for mentors, pay for resources, and pay for systems that collapse time and the learning curve. So I want to ask you, what is your $100 million day version? Like, what would it look like for you? Like, just close your eyes in just a minute. I mean, don't close your eyes if you're driving, but if you are awake and you are, like, not driving, I really want you to close your eyes and just for a minute think about, what does making it rain mean for you? What would it really look like for there to be that abundance? And for everything to work out like you know that it could, if you really got to a place where you advertise long enough that change everything. That is what's possible for you when you know how to make it rain. And that is why we build the community that we do. And we would love to invite you to be a part of it. And I hope this episode was helpful. I hope to see you in the challenge. And otherwise, I will see you on the next episode.